haciendo deportes y por supuesto de camino al trabajo, porque estamos siempre contigo. Tu Fiesta Radio, celebrando nuestra música.
Bienvenido mi gente linda al show de la mañana. Gracias por la sintonía, gracias por estar aquí con nosotros. Estamos sumamente emocionados. Tenemos de vuelta a nuestro Gainesville Police Department. Aquí vamos a estar cambiando para English back and forth, porque tú sabes, that's how we do it. Tenemos con nosotros en esta mañana una vez más a nuestro GPD. Tenemos el segmento ¿Qué pasa en GMB con GPD? Y entonces aquí es donde nosotros podemos conocer las cosas que están ocurriendo, what is going on actually in our community. And now we're going to get back to English, and we're going to introduce, because we feel honored to have with us Detective Ferrara.
Good morning, everybody.
How are you doing? How are you feeling this morning?
I'm doing good. This is the first time I've done a radio show like this, but not the first time I've ever, interacted with the community. So
Awesome. Well, we feel privileged to have you here. Thank you for taking the time, and thank you for what you do, because, you are making a difference every day.
Absolutely.
So thank you for that. And we have unusual. We can say that he's actually a co-host now.
We're almost there.
Now by the voice, you know that it is Officer Tirado here, the officer that we actually had the privilege as well to do an amazing ride-along. And I said amazing because everything is being documented, and we are in the process of editing. And hopefully after the Thanksgiving week, we're going to be reviewing and releasing that documentary about the ride along. But before we continue, remember that you can tune in on 97.3 HD2. You can actually tune in on Tu Fiesta Radio app on your Android, your iPhone. We are on Alexa, TuneIn, Radio Garden, Sterra. We are all over the place. You can also make comments on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram. We are live all over. And you can also call in if you have any questions to 833. Oh my God, this is in English is terrible. 833-752-1925. ¿Lo puedes decir ahí?
833-725-1925.
752-1925. All right, that's the number. Or you can actually send text message to that number with questions regarding the topics that we're about to discuss. So now, Detective Ferrara, you mentioned that you've been with GPD, you've been a detective for 25 years?
Well, I've been with the department for 25 years. I've had two different, terms, if you want to call it that, in detectives. The first go around was, I think, 5 or 6 years, and I worked sex crimes, child abuse, anything that's related to topics that people don't really like to talk about. But then the second go-around, which is what I'm currently in, is I've been the detective sergeant over finance crimes, which has been an absolutely awesome experience. I enjoy it. I plan to do my last 5 years, to finish with my 30 in the same spot, because I'm over finance crimes, I'm over organized retail crime, I'm over auto thefts, frauds. I mean,
Wow.
It's been a great experience. It's been very educational, and I've gotten a lot of good experience. I've made a lot of good contacts.
This is great. Didn't you guys had a conference about this financial crime recently?
Yes, one of my detectives, Justin Torres, who is awesome, so big shout out to him. He decided to put together like a training course, pretty much to educate area businesses on frauds that are out there, particularly check frauds that we've had quite a bit of issues with people sending out checks and them being stolen either out of the mail or, some other location, and then, that information is being used to cash the checks or deposit the checks in other towns. So it's been a big financial burden to some of these businesses. So it was just this is the first step, and we'd probably like to run a whole series of training sessions like this.
That is awesome. You know what? That's our topic right there. Let me tell you, because we've been actually discussing here about sexual abuse, human trafficking. We have talked about that, but let me tell you, financial fraud and how you can feel safer that way, we haven't talked about that at all. And having Campus USA Credit Union as one of our sponsors, that's a perfect topic. So, you want to translate before we continue?
Claro, Helio, pues como el detective sargento aquí mencionó, él ha estado en el departamento de policía por algunos 25 años ahora. Él estuvo 5 años en detective, trabajando crímenes crímenes sexuales y crímenes de abuso. Y él mencionó los crímenes que a la gente no le gusta hablar de esos temas. También él dice que lleva un par de años trabajando como sargento sobre los crímenes financieros. Eso conlleva de todo, ¿sabes? Fraude, cualquier cosa que sea financiero, ellos lo trabajan. Entonces, pues, vamos a hablar de 2 o 3 cositas para prevenir esas cosas y para educar a la gente y que ellos sepan qué buscar cuando hay un fraude, y así podemos tratar de prevenir que ellos sean víctimas.
Awesome. So now let's talk about that, the financial, like fraud and trafficking. We're having a couple questions. I want to make sure we got the question. Okay. So we have the first question. Wow, and we haven't even started. Thank you, DH Golo, for sending this question. So he's asking, he's saying, what a great topic. Thank you, GPD. And he's saying, financial crime is the same as white-collar crime. Is that the same?
I mean, there's different levels. White-collar crime is very organized, and usually, it's a hierarchical system. You have a boss, and then you have different people below it. But there's all different levels.
And I'm sorry for my I don't know, I guess innocence, or I don't know, but what is it? What is white-collar crime? I don't even know what it is.
Most of the time people think white-collar crime is something that's perpetrated by, people that are very smart. It's a big organization. It involves millions of dollars as opposed to...
Like hackers or something like that?
I mean, that's a type of crime, but, white-collar usually means it's almost like take it as a business. Some people talk about like the mafia and other, criminal organizations. But white-collar, it's more high-end, more sophisticated, like embezzlement, people that are in a position of trust. You may have like a dirty CEO of a company that is actually just defrauding people. And we've kind of see that in the news recently about one of the crypto companies. But I don't want to make accusations against what's going on in the news.
Yeah.
But it's more, sophisticated, and it's a big dollar loss to the victims.
Awesome. So now my first question would be like, what are the most, the usual, like these financial crimes, the most that you see more often out there?
I would say, there's so many different types of financial crimes. I mean, we experience a lot of different types of frauds. They target on all different types of victims, all ages, all races, creeds, you name it. These guys, a lot of them are local. Some people are here in the United States, and a lot, originate overseas, which makes it very difficult for us to investigate. But these guys, they tailor their scams to the target audience. Mm-hmm. So they know if it's a UF student, sometimes they'll sit and wait, and they'll post job, postings on certain websites that students are looking for jobs, as a TA or whatnot. And then, once they get the hook in the person, they'll end up manipulating them into thinking they're getting a job. And a lot of times it all comes back to like checks and credit cards, and it's frustrating. But I mean, we get everything.
And that's unbelievable that we're now talking about students and, Gainesville, Florida being like a college town. I mean to ask you, like, what is the target audience that they are seeking the most?
When it comes to students, I mean, there's so many different ones. Like the one I previously said, as far as like they're trying to get a job, and, they'll get hooked into thinking they get a job. And part of their job, as whether it's a teacher's assistant or a dog walker. I mean, you wouldn't believe all the different jobs out there. And these guys are on like legitimate sites like Indeed.com and a couple other, job type sites. But, it comes down to, all right, well, we're going to send you a check, and we want you to deposit that in your personal bank account. And you can keep some of that. That's your pay. But then you have to like wire or, get a cashier's check and mail it to somebody else, or go buy gift cards, and send them to this other person as part of their job. And of course, that other person is, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be, the scammer himself. But
right.
But the thing is, it eventually hurts the victims themselves because that check is fake.
So I worked a case like that once where it was this lady actually got scammed twice by the same people, using that same kind of scams. Like she had supposedly won, I guess it was like $2.5 million and a new car. And they said, oh, but first you got to send us this amount amount of money so we can process it. So they had her go to Walgreens and buy a bunch of different like gift credit cards.
Yeah.
And she got scammed out of a couple $1,000.
Unbelievable. And it is very interesting that actually Detective Ferrara mentioned that, because that happened to me 10 years ago. Exactly like that. I was actually beginning my my journey as a drums teacher and a classical trained musician, and somebody from Chicago, supposedly they were not in Chicago. They said, I were in Chicago, I'm sending my daughter, blah blah blah. Long story short, they asked me to do that, to deposit the money for $1,200, and then I have to, no, it was more than that, but I had to send back $1,200. That's what they are making on me. And at the end of the day, the only good thing that I actually got from there is that I got to meet Detective Luis Acevedo. Yep. That's how I met Luis. And after that, we became friends. And he told me, like, that is so hard. There is, nothing like you can really do as a detective, because it's like 150 cases at the same time happening with yours, and there is no way to track these people.
It's hard, man. And they will reach out any possible way.
Yes.
Whether it's a student that's looking for a new apartment, they'll go online, they'll find something on Craigslist, it looks like it's a good deal. Unbeknownst to them, that house, or that, whether it's an apartment or a house that, it's being advertised that it's for rent, but it's actually for sale, and whoever posted that ad, it's completely fake. So they'll speak to the scammer. The scammer will tell them, there's a $150 application fee, and you have to send this, and then they'll do the deal with the person. They'll sign a fake contract. They'll send the money to pay the security deposit first month, last month. And then I've had cases where people will show up the day of move-in with a U-Haul.
Wow.
And then next thing you know, they find out it wasn't a real deal. That house is for sale. And like, this person's already out of their lease at another apartment and then trying to move it in this new one. You talk about being in a bind. Yeah. It's nuts.
It's
unbelievable. Well, we have another question from our audience. Thank you so much for sending the question. And this person is asking, is financial crime a federal offense?
Most of the time, I mean, there are federal offenses that, certain crimes will fall under. It depends on, either the location, sometimes the dollar amount. If it hits a certain dollar amount, the FBI may want to get involved, Homeland Security, Secret Service. But most of the time that we can charge things locally under Florida state statute.
Okay. Do you want to translate that?
Yeah, let's try to give a summary of all that. Good stuff there. Bueno, el detective aquí estaba hablando de los tipos de crímenes financieros. Estamos hablando que estas personas que están haciendo estos crímenes se están volviendo muy inteligentes y están tratando de sacar dinero de todo el mundo. Ellos postean en páginas de internet trabajos para los estudiantes. Él estaba explicando también que ha habido situaciones donde estas personas ponen alguna casa para renta en Facebook Marketplace, en Craigslist, en cualquier página de internet. Y estas personas hacen estas transacciones con las víctimas. No, sí, te vamos a rentar este apartamento, tienes que mandar tanto dinero para el depósito. Y él está explicando que han habido casos donde las personas hacen todas estas transacciones y le mandan hasta llaves falsas y todo, y ellos aparecen en la casa y la casa no está de renta, o la están vendiendo, o está vacía, o viven gente. Entonces la gente se aparece pensando que acaban de rentar un apartamento, y cuando vienen a ver, fueron víctimas de un crimen y ahora le robaron un montón de dinero.
Yeah, I watched a show. What is the name of this show? I think he's a guy, like a guy with his son that is in pursuit with John something. I don't remember. Lieutenant, he has a last name, but I don't remember now. But it's okay. My point here is that in that show, the detective, they get really close with the victim, right? And you can actually feel and kind of like travel through the emotions of the detective and see how hard it is for you guys to deal sometimes with cases that they are attached to families, either financial, or you just mentioned a great example of housing, a fraud. Can you recall a case that actually touched you, like that you said, wow, I can't believe that this person is going through this?
I mean, there's so many over the years, and these cases can be, and I learned this quickly when I worked sex crimes, child abuse crimes. It's so hard to get emotionally attached because it's emotionally draining. Every single victim, and every week a new case, a new victim, and sometimes when you think you've seen it all, like somebody has just topped it by like doing something 10 times worse. So, I try not to get too emotionally attached to each one because, like I said, it's so draining. You got to think 25 years of doing this, and at least 12 of it has been a detective. Working with all different types of victims, but. I mean, yeah, there's some to where, the ones that get to me now are like the elderly women and men that get romance scammed. And some of them are out like, in excess of $100,000 because they fell in love with somebody that they met online, whether it's, you'd be surprised. There's old people on Tinder and some of these other dating sites that they'll meet somebody and they'll get sucked into their, this love. And then they're willing to do whatever they can. And it just, to some of these people that are hoping to retire and keep this money, it's devastating to them to lose their nest egg.
So you are saying like all people in Tinder? We have a PhD in Tinder here. We've been actually joking about Tinder for a long time. We haven't talked about Tinder in a while, but now that you mention it, it is very funny.
Well, sorry to open up that door.
Oh, man.
No, that's actually great. I mean, I am surprised. And at the same time, it doesn't surprise me. Just like online, you can find anything. Like literally,
God, yeah.
I mean, Craigslist became a while ago the most targeted, website for fraud.
Yeah.
Isn't that right? And then another ones came along.
It's branched out. I mean, I've read reports where people ended up getting contacted by the scammer, like playing Words with Friends, to where how you can have a side chat as you're playing, and the next thing you know, like, hey, why don't you go out to WhatsApp or some other texting site, and then that's how they build a relationship. And the next thing you know, they're scammed. And I'm sitting there thinking, this all started playing Words with Friends.
Wow, unbelievable.
So, like they'll use any app, any email, whatever, just to reach out.
Whatever
to
avenue they got.
Yeah.
Wow.
Websites that we should avoid at all times.
Oh God.
Where to start, right?
Tough questions.
There are so many websites out there, and you have to be careful that you're not on a fake website. And this reminds me of a story to where one time I had a victim that I guess they were surfing the web. I'm not going to judge him from whatever site he was looking at, and the pop-up came up to where they told him, oh, you have a virus. You need to call this number and give us your credit card information in order to get rid of the virus. So the guy thought, all right. He ended up doing that, got scammed, and then he's like, all right, I got to do something. I need to reset my Apple password. So then he goes to a fake Apple website to go to Apple support.
Oh, wow.
Contacts a fake Apple support person and gets, double
Scammed
banged
again.
on another scam. And I'm reading this all in the same report. I'm like, my God, this guy's got the worst luck because you can't trust anything. You can't trust an email because we all get those emails to where it looks like it's from your financial institution or someplace that you make bank or whatever, or even a friend.
Wow.
You got to look at the header to see where that email came from because it'll be masked to look like somebody or a business that you recognize. Once you click on it, then it's some crazy web or email address that it came from.
Wow, unbelievable. Well, we're having a question now, and let me tell you, so fast. This question is actually brought to you by Meldon Law. Meldon Law, it is your law firm that you need to contact in case of any accident. Check it out. Ay, Dios mío, qué clase de mamellazo que me han dado. Y ahora, ¿yo qué hago? No se preocupe, compañeros. Todo lo que tiene que hacer es contactar a Meldon Law. Repita conmigo. Llámalo, llámalo, llama a Meldon Law. Ahora, 800-373-8000. Eso es, llama a Meldon Law, tu firma de abogado para accidente de autos o lesiones personales. All right, that was brought to you by Meldon Law. And this question by Jackie. Thank you, Jackie, for sending the question. So she's saying, I am just curious, what is the percentage of people that get scammed these days?
Oh, God. Well, we live in the state of Florida. And in the state of Florida, we usually rank at the top of almost every list when it comes to fraud, identity theft.
Wow.
Just theft in period or in general. If we're not at the top, we're in the top three. what percentage, it depends on what website you go to. If you want to go to the Federal Trade Commission, you want to go to the FBI. I mean, I don't even know if we track those statistics ourselves, but there's a good portion of people that, are defrauded every day. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it's in the billions of dollars a year, but as far as what percentage of like Gainesville's population, I'm sure everybody's got a story.
Yeah, exactly. No, and one thing that I noticed, I don't know, and Detective obviously is the expert on this. I noticed that these people normally they're desperate, right? They ask you fast. They're like, I remember not long ago, like 6 months, but I've been in the entertainment business for a long time now. Someone was asking me, we're getting more questions now. Okay, hold on. So someone was asking me, like, Elliot, like, are you available for this day? And I was like, okay, how you know my name? How you find me? Are you in Gainesville? Because I travel all over, but where are you coming from? And, was kind of like avoiding my questions and going, well, we can give you the deposit now. And, and when I said, like, listen, I don't have time for this. Let me tell you. And you can feel in that desperation to get something out of you.
All right.
I don't know if that's one aspect from the scams that we could kind of like see red flags.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of times the scammers like to employ, they'll use fear, greed, love to get money out of you. Fear of, you get that phone call to where, hey, your name came up. You have an arrest warrant because your car was used for human trafficking in Dallas, Texas. And they'll have this elaborate scheme. And now that person's like, oh my God, I got a warrant. I got to get out of getting arrested. What do I do to fix this? And next thing you know, the scammer's telling them, okay, go down to Walmart and buy some money pack cards and take pictures of them and send it to me. Like, not many law enforcement agencies do that. But again, I read these reports. I go, what was this person thinking? But again, you're not in your right mind when you're, afraid.
Exactly.
So on that topic of desperation, right? I think that the scammers will use this tactic of, like you were saying, using these emotions and then also putting a timeline on it. So that way you don't have that time to think about it. Or, when you're making a big decision, you always ask people for advice. If they give you that short time frame, like, you got to do this now or this is going to happen, it just takes away that opportunity for them to actually realize that it's a scam.
Wow, this is a great conversation. And let me tell you, we have a message through our phone line from a sergeant that he was in prison. And he's saying a lot of contraband cell phone is in prison because they have all day to look for victims. Wow, this is a person that actually is a sergeant here in a prison. I don't remember the name of the prison, but I know that they listen a lot to the station, and now it's great because I didn't know that. We don't realize when you have time, you can actually look for victims. Yeah,
I mean, I can talk about that, believe it or not. A couple of years ago, we had a whole series of, I don't know, I looked at the demographics of the victims in this case. I don't know how they got chosen, but they were very cute. Almost all of them were blonde UF students, and they all got the phone call from this certain deputy, whether it's Gainesville Police Department, the Alachua County Sheriff's Office. They ended up getting told, you have a warrant for your arrest. We have a special program that you can get out of getting arrested. You need to send these gift cards, go buy them and then send us the information. And the next thing you know, I come to find out a lot of this ties back to their prisoners in the Georgia Bureau of Prisons.
Oh, wow.
That they're perpetrating this, and then they're communicating with people on the outside to end up using those cards and transferring the balances. I mean, it's nuts how people are able to make money through scams while they're incarcerated. It blows my mind, but it happens.
Wow. It's unbelievable. Wow. Unbelievable. Well, let me tell you, it's been a great pleasure, talking with you guys. You see, we have so many things to talk about.
Look at that, man.
And that flew by. But we're almost over. But let me tell you, today is my dad's birthday. So I wanna surprise my dad. All right, really quick before we finish the show with GPD here. Let me see if he's gonna. Hopefully, he doesn't hang on me. So before we say goodbye, is that right?
Yeah,
that's perfectly fine.
All right. Well, let's see. Awesome. Let me see if he's gonna. Okay, it's ringing. Hello. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Papi. Happy birthday to you.
Gracias.
Gracias. Happy birthday, baby. Happy birthday. Te quiero mucho. Feliz cumpleaños. Gracias por todo. Y nos vemos a celebrar ahorita. Un abrazo.
Gracias, papi. Gracias.
Saludos y bendiciones.
Aquí estoy con el Detective Ferrara y Officer Tirado. Aquí cantándote Happy Birthday.
Gracias. Un saludo para todos.
Igual, se me cuide, que Dios le dé muchos años más de vida.
Te quiero.
Muchas gracias.
Te quiero,
Happy birthday, brother.
Un abrazo, te quiero mucho. Entonces, mi gente, yeah, that was my daddy right there. Running out of time, but it is worth it. We have a breaking news here. Right now, actually, that is, we just had a shooting of last minute in Altamar. Deja el saldo de un agente muerto y varios agentes de aduana marítima heridos de bala en una intervención de contrabando en Altamar, a unas 14 millas del pueblo de Cabo Rojo. This is in Puerto Rico. We have a last minute shooting in Altamar. We have multiple agents. They are wounded and they've been transported for medical assistance. Wow, we are very sorry to hear this because, we have a big audience from Puerto Rico, and, we love Puerto Rico and everything, so it's just very sad. But hey, guys, we want to thank you for the message, for the questions. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for the support. Thank you for supporting GPD. And remember, you have any question, if you are interested in becoming a police officer, you can reach out to the website is GPT. Is that a website or City of Gainesville? Said that? Gainesville PD?
GainesvillePD.org.
I always forget that.
GainesvillePD.com.
Awesome. .org.
Org.
Yes.
Org.
Exactly. And then if you don't remember that, you can just call the number of the station, and basically we'll make sure that we get you in the right direction. Yep. Also, we're promoting the Ride Alone big time right now. Documentary is coming out after we review everything through the department after Thanksgiving. These days, we are all about the turkey, baby. We don't want to think about anything else. And
after that video, you're all gonna think about the Ride Alone, not the turkey.
Yeah, exactly. And this person saying thank you, Tirado and Detective, for your service and dedication. That's what they say. And yeah, we also want to thank you guys. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, GPD en la casa. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Well, we are saying goodbye actually with Daddy Yankee this morning. Remember, we're going to be talking about the Daddy Yankee tickets. That Daddy Yankee is coming back to the Amway Arena in Orlando, Florida. The last tour, baby, the big boss. Daddy Yankee, tú no te vas a querer perder eso porque usted sabe que siempre estamos en la última regalándote todo lo que tiene que ver con Daddy Yankee aquí. ¿Te gusta Daddy Yankee?
Claro.
Do you like Daddy Yankee, Detective?
Absolutely.
All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Muchas gracias. Thank you, GPD. Gracias.
You're welcome.